Evening. I'm here to drop in for day 40, our final day of our community Own Your Fire Panchakarma. And I hope you're feeling as lit as I am because I definitely feel my fire is forward. I am feeling so inspired and just ready to follow through in this fall season and bring my vision into fruition. I feel really inspired. My body's feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling enthusiastic. I'm totally aligning with my fuck yes. And it totally took me by surprise. It didn't turn out the way I thought it all. And I'm considering some really radical moves. I'm kind of like shook right now with what came through for me in this Panchakarma. But it's like so good, and I'm really vibing off of it. And I hope that you all have experienced some really amazing transformations yourself, okay? Some amazing transformations yourself. And I've really appreciated those of you who have been bringing your voices in and sharing your experiences, dropping a comment. You know, you don't realize how much it helps people just bringing your voice in. It's a risk, right? It's a risk to bring your voice forward. And especially if you're sharing anything that's kind of sensitive or anything that maybe is something you struggled with, to just give a voice to it, bring that forward. It's a risk, to be vulnerable in this way, but there's like such a need for us all to be able to connect and communicate about the things that really matter. It's so essential at this time that we learn how to drop in with each other in more meaningful ways. It's like something that's really needed in the world right now. And we need spaces where people can feel that they can bring in their truth, that they can be witnessed in what they need to bring forward for healing. Um, and just be held in that space, not trying to fix it, not trying to give that person suggestions about what they need to do, or anything along those lines, but just holding their experience with respect so people feel seen and heard. It's like um, so essential that we create those spaces, because what often keeps us stuck in unhealthy patterns or keeps us trapped, in repeated pain loops in our lives that are connected to old traumas that we're still playing out in our present reality, has everything to do with shame. And shame encourages us to keep things secret. We don't want parts of us seen. We don't want to bring forward the things we struggle with. We don't want to show that we have what we have been conditioned to believe are weaknesses, and especially in the West, there's always this mentality about never let them see you sweat, And so to take that risk, to be vulnerable, to open your heart, to say, hey, I've gone through this and I've struggled through this in my life before. And um, I don't, I don't know how to get to the other side of this, or wow, I really overcame this negative, habit I had, and it's changed my life in so many ways. To bring in these pieces, to share that you've struggled with something or had something that you needed to transform, and bringing that forward transparently, it can make a big difference in somebody's life. I've done this work in my own healing process. There came a point on my own journey of healing where I really realized I needed to be able to talk about what my struggles were, that I felt like I just needed to air it out to somebody because I always kept that stuff tucked inside of me. And I kind of went out on a limb and I created an online community. This was way back when. It was a forum and it was called Through Thick and Thin, and I brought it forward and I just shared myself totally transparently, like just laid it out. And it was super fucking scary. It was so scary. And I didn't know if I was going to be trolled or what people would say about me. It felt extremely vulnerable, but this amazing thing happened. And the more that I brought my voice forward, and the more that I pushed through the fear, and the more that I let out stuff that I had stuffed down and I'd held inside for so many years, the more and more free I got, and the less I cared what anybody had to say about it. And I totally aligned with my passion, my purpose, and I felt like I had my energy back. I had myself back. I felt reconnected. And it was very much like a big part of my soul retrieval work. Big part of my soul retrieval work. So I cannot tell you how over the years, so many times I've heard people say, thank you so much for just sharing your experience, because it really helped me know that I'm not alone. And that's such a big, important part of healing. So I just really wanted to take a moment to honor those of you who have dropped in on these Panchakarma threads, and even those of you who have dropped in and have left, some of you have left some pretty deep comments, on my readings. And I just want to say thank you for that, because that's the kind of space I want to create here. I want this to be a space where everybody feels they're welcome, and everybody can be seen for who they are and accepted for who they are. And that we can get people that have differences of opinions, different ways of viewing things, different perspectives, and we can all hang out. We don't have to force our views on others. We can have this beautiful space of coexisting, and that's how we transform, really. It starts with us doing the work on ourselves, but if we show up and we can build community from that level where people can show up as they are, and it's okay to see things differently. It's okay to have a different walk in life. It's okay to have different spiritual beliefs. It's okay. When we go to that place within ourselves, and then it's extended by how we show up in our communities, and we form connections on this basis, it's amazing what can happen, because we're aligning with that unity consciousness. And we got to be real, man. We got to look at what's been going on over the past couple of years. We got to look at how much division has been encouraged. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be mindful of those words and the way they create a certain kind of space. What kind of space are you holding as you move forward? It's an important piece, and so many of you have just really shown me that you're here to be part of the change, and I just think it's beautiful. And I really appreciate you bringing your voices forward and sharing your experiences, because you've given other people, even if you haven't had it said to you, you've given somebody else support when they really needed it. You maybe have been pivotal in them starting to work up the courage to maybe bring their voice in too. All right. So I just wanted to take that moment to really acknowledge that. And I also want you to receive from your voice by doing a little exercise to close this journey, this chapter. Hopefully you'll continue forward in the Panchakarma life, maybe take a week off, a week or two, to integrate your experience from this Panchakarma and all the growth, and then start another 40-day cycle of your own. Now you know how to do it. You got building blocks. You got like some basic Ayurvedic, self-care 101, and you can bring that together with also your own elements that came in for you, and that's what I love about it. It's like, okay, you got these building blocks, but now you can really make it your own. And how do you make it your own? Through tapping into your own wisdom, your own intuition, your own connection to source. We all got it, and that's what I'm all about here. I'm all about empowering people. You got all the answers inside of you. You got all the keys inside of you. So you wrote a letter, or at least hopefully you did, at the start of this journey. We wrote a letter. It was just like a weather report. It was a check-in about where we were at mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. where we were hoping we could get to, and what we wanted to see when we got to the other side of this journey that we went on over these 40 days. And you put that letter aside, not to be viewed until the end of our experience together. And now we're at the end of these 40 days. So before you pull out that letter and have a look at it, what I'd like you to do is do the same thing. We're going to finish it the way we started, all right? We're going to follow through, and I want you to just take out a piece of paper, and I want you to fill it with a weather report about where you're at right now. How are you feeling mentally? Where's your head space at? How are you feeling emotionally? Where's the heart space at? Where are you feeling the shifts physically? How are you feeling physically? Where is your energy levels at? What changes have you experienced? What's different in your life? What's going on with that vision? What's going on with that vision you've been building? Is it still the same vision? Did the vision itself transform into something altogether new, which is really cool? And it happens, and it happened to me. And once you got it all out on paper, okay, give it a read over, drink it in, witness it, witness yourself through your own words, through your own eyes, okay? And then I want you to pick up that letter you wrote at the beginning and give it a read now from your current vantage point, and acknowledge the growth, the transformation, witness how much is transformed. Really take it in. It will be powerful. You will realize how much can change in that brief amount of time. And hopefully that will be the thing that inspires you to continue forward with this. Because really, we can live our lives like this. We can live our lives in such a way that the priority is continued growth, right? And that's what we're here to do. We're here to grow. So after you've done this, I encourage you, for the sake of building future community, as more and more people, come to this space over time, bring your voice in. If you've been working through this Panchakarma, even if you've just been watching all these videos, let's say you haven't done any of this stuff, you've just been watching these videos, you've been dropping in, be brave, drop a comment, share what came forward for you, what shifted, even in just watching the videos and taking in the information, what came up for you, Bring your voice in, drop a comment. I'm going to drop a comment. I'm going to share my experiences too. And I encourage you to also bring in what were the shifts you saw compared to where you were when you began. Maybe some shadow aspects came forward in witnessing where you were at when you first, wrote that letter to where you are now. So bring that in too. I'll bring mine in, all right? And let's just have a little share session, drop in share session in the comments section here. I think it'll really be potent. And then if you want to create some kind of ritual around closing this cycle, it would be really beautiful. It's traditional to do a homa fire at the end of Panchakarma, and offering up something, some kind of offerings to Agni, all right? And a beautiful way that you can do that is burn that letter and just show your gratitude for being supported by that fire element to help you transform all of this. Gratitude for being able to bring your fire forward on whatever level it came in for you. Even if you just watched these videos and you noticed you had a change in perspective, that's transformation. How did your perspective shift? What did you learn? Did it bring in a new inspiration for you? Maybe you're considering doing Panchakarma yourself now. I think that's awesome. It's all growth, and it's all beautiful, and it's all wonderful, okay? If you do decide to do that and burn that first letter, I encourage you, make a little witch's salt with it. Make a little warding salt. You just take the ashes and mix it with sea salt. And then you can use it anytime that you feel like your resolve flagging, when it comes to maybe an unhealthy habit that you overcame in this cycle, or you're just kind of having a moment of weakness, or you feel challenged in some way on your path. You can bring in this warding salt and work with it in any kind of candle burning, or you can get creative with it. I'm sure you can find clever ways to work with it. Just trust your intuition, but it's kind of a nice thing to do. Then you really infuse these things with power, right? Because they're so forged out of your personal experience. That's what really helps you connect. For those of you that are of the witchy persuasion, those of you who like to do some workings, it's so powerful when you use these things um, to make your ritual supplies. Like you don't need to hire somebody to do it. You can make it yourself. Okay. And then I do want to close with a healing circle for the whole community here at Broad Coven. Even if you didn't go through Panchakarma, I just really want to give that and extend that. So it'll be lovely. It's going to include some distance Reiki, or I'm going to bring that in. I want to bring in some kind of sound therapy components and different things. I want to put together something really nice for you all. Okay. So I'm looking at probably doing that later next week. All right. I'm thinking maybe like next Friday or Saturday. So just be on the lookout for it. When I decide when I'm going to have it, I will be putting out an announcement. Okay. Some kind of announcement video, or I'll mention it on one of the videos coming out. But usually there's a little heads up that comes through when I schedule it through my live stream. So I will do that. And I think with that, I will have it be alive. And the comments will be open, but I probably, when I'm actively doing like Reiki and stuff, I'll just have the comments out of my view so I don't get distracted. But I'll take breaks in between things and I'll drop in with all of you, and maybe we can really co-create something together. I do want you to get a candle, okay? Like a good, one of those tall glass votives, one of these kind of candles, okay? You know, it doesn't have to be Virgin de Guadalupe, okay? You can get whatever candle you want to get, but a candle like this would be really nice to bring in to just symbolize, the fire that you're holding. And that theme has been coming in so much, right? Like one flame lighting another. So to participate in the healing circle, get your hands on a nice votive candle, okay, that can burn for a number of days. Um, we'll be bringing that in so you can hold your piece in the circle. And I think it'll be really a beautiful thing. So be on the lookout for that. And thank you so much for journeying with me and being the first here at Broad Coven to travel through these 40 days with me. I appreciate you so, so much. And I'm really excited to hear about what you experienced and what transformed in your life. All right. I'll be seeing you around. More reads to come. Have a beautiful, beautiful new cycle.